Oh yeah, we're live.
Hello, everybody.
Where's little brother? We're live before New Year's. I just want to do my wrestling.
Nice. We're live before New Year's for the LifterLMS Throwdown. That would be a good live stream. Is a LifterLMS team throwdown? Like it's a wrestling with executives of different LMS companies and different people at different LMS companies, and just kind of like a WWE style.
We should just make it like it's a virtual cage match, and everything we say has to be like we're in the ring, we're in the octagon, we're in the cage.
Yeah, I don't know if I can keep
slap
up
that coat over your head with like a lawn chair, brother.
Yeah, it's like, don't install that plugin. That plugin has bad ratings. That plugin's got 3 stars. But cool. I'm pulling up YouTube, Facebook, and our tickets in the background. But anyone watching us live, Will Middleton and Kurt Von Onen here from LifterLMS will be live for the next hour, answering all kinds of LifterLMS questions, getting started up to advanced. If you have questions about third-party tools, we'd be happy to dive into that as well. We'll prioritize anyone who asked any questions here on the call to make sure if you made the time to join us live that you get your question answered. But we'll also be diving into Facebook and YouTube and some questions from the last week as well. So if you're watching us now, let us know where you're calling in from. I'm calling in from Georgia, U.S. today.
Georgia. I'm calling in from Hutchinson, Kansas.
Nice. Still liking it out there in Kansas?
Dude, it is it's lunacy how good this is. I mean, it just came up again over this last week with the holidays and stuff. Everybody's like, oh, I bet you got some regrets, leaving California. I'm like, nah, no regrets yet. Hashtag escaping California is still a thing. Still a thing. I got to turn on the light.
Yeah. Nice.
The sun got behind a cloud and all of a sudden my head went dark.
Yeah, I'm relying on a lot of sunlight right now for my my lighting. I've got a little bit of a weird setup going on I got a card table that's got a mic on it and all kinds of stuff. But wow, we had a lot of comments this last week. But cool, we got Randy calling in from Phoenix too. Phoenix, Arizona. That's awesome. That's where LifterLMS used to be based out of, Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, and not for nothing, Randy, if you're not part of the local WordPress community in Phoenix, I would strongly encourage you to get involved there if you have any inclination. Phoenix is wonderful. WordCamp Phoenix was tremendous, and a lot of key players from, obviously GoDaddy's in that area, right? So you got a lot of key players from GoDaddy in the area. You've got people from Divi in the area. MemberPress, I believe, isn't Thomas was involved with them. I mean, it's just a really strong community out there, and their WordPress meetup is worth looking up and getting involved in if you're not already there.
Yeah, it is. Phoenix is a wonderful place. And Randy jumped in with a question: is it better to add Lifter to an existing site or set up a new site? That's a good question, and there's some factors that go into that question. Like, I think about, the first thing I think about is what theme are you using on your live website? How much traffic do you have coming to your already existing website? If you built your website 5 years ago with a theme that's not Astra, not Cadence, not a full site editing theme, you might want to consider having like a subdomain or something like that if you want to keep that branding that you have of your classic website, and then you could create a subdomain for it. So if you didn't want to do a rebrand and you have a lot of traffic and it's on a theme that doesn't work super well with Lifter, a lot of themes work well with Lifter out of the box. It's just that some themes don't support LifterLMS sidebars. When I could pull up my demo site too to talk about this. When courses and lessons are appearing on the website, we have, if I share my screen, I'll show kind of show don't tell in this case. So here we go. Boom. So sidebars on courses, that's a really important thing that's missing from a lot of themes in WordPress. Like Astra has it, Cadence has it, Ocean WP has it. A lot of themes offer this sidebar support over here on the right. It makes it nice when you're viewing the course page to be able to see on the right-hand side your course progress, your course outline, stuff like that on the course and lesson post types. And of course, if you're using a custom theme, you could add that in, but that's my biggest consideration is what theme are you using? And Cadence Blocks Pro. Oh, Cadence. Okay, so if you're using Cadence already, then
slap
Cadence...
Lifter in there and have a good day.
Yep. But yeah, Cadence is a great theme with Lifter. So you could just throw Lifter on there, and really, I mean, I don't think there's any issues with that really, because LifterLMS works on top of the default WordPress user management system, where like you have users and they have roles. Like a LifterLMS introduces a student user role, but I don't see any issue adding it to your live site if you're already on a theme that works well with Lifter, like Cadence. What do you think about that, Kurt? Existing site versus a new site?
I go for the existing site almost every single time. And here's why. When I first started with LifterLMS, I was a customer. And as a customer, I set up Academy whatever I was going to have, right? And then, I'm babysitting 2 websites. I'm babysitting 2 sets of updates, 2 sets of themes, 2 sets of looks, 2 sets of branding, 2 sets of, and these projects start out with the best of intentions. But I'm going to be super honest. If you go back 7-8 years ago in my past, as far as a implementer would go in the WordPress space, I had great intentions of having clean installs and clean setups and clean hierarchies and all these things that we want to classify, but they weren't. They were a mess. And trying to keep track of 2 completely separate projects was a pain in the butt. So over time, I learned, and I obviously have an agency, and I do this for a lot of other clients now. Whenever possible, I put it all on the same site, same theme. There's tools where you can change some design features if you want nowadays. So if you're not happy with LifterLMS out of the box, if you're on a full site editing theme like SkyPilot, you can change the appearance. You can change things around. If you use Elementor with tangible Lifter elements, then you can, design lesson pages and course pages that are completely custom. And so for me personally, the more I can put together and the more I can simplify the offer, the happier I am.
Yeah, completely agree.
I was a little too emphatic there. But Randy says he's already got tickets to WordCamp. So he's
oh, really?
He's my buddy. I might be at that one. I haven't decided if I'm going to make it back to Phoenix or not.
Nice. February. Very good. That's awesome. Yeah, the WordCamps are, one of probably my favorite event working in WordPress. Jahanar, Columbia, Maryland. I think MD's Maryland, right? You lived up there, Kurt.
Maryland, yes, Maryland.
Okay. Perfect. Welcome to the call. Let us know if you have any questions or if you just want to sit back and
he's got I don't know if it's a question or a statement he put in there.
Yep.
He put that in there, says, I'm building an LMS for a university. First off, congratulations for you. That's a big project. LifterLMS is great for that, especially if you're not doing e-commerce and you're just managing members and putting people into content. It's great for that. I'm confused about totally dashboard driven though.
Yeah, let me see. I gotta get a code from my email to sign into Facebook and see questions from there. But building an element, it's totally dashboard driven. So dashboard driven, I wonder if that's like a front end user dashboard thing or what that means. WordPress dashboard, all the LifterLMS stuff is of course put in the WordPress admin dashboard, but if you could let us know a little more details, we'd be happy to weigh in on how you can build that setup. And while I'm logging into Facebook, someone had a question on your video, Kurt, last week about images and media management in WordPress. They said there's a lot in the video, probably have to watch a few times to see all the places and technical bits. So in LifterLMS, if you put a picture, a PDF, or any kind of asset in your lessons, like an MP3, you could put that in your media library. But the challenge is you want to make sure that's locked down, and you don't want to put videos in your media library that are too large. Sometimes I'll put like a 5-second video that's in like the background of my Elementor page or something in the media library, but you don't want to be uploading 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute videos to your media library, because they're usually going to be really slow and not very secure. So I guess, Kurt, do you think you could talk through what you shared in that video with media management, and maybe for people who are, this is like a beginner WordPress question, a beginner WordPress concept about like the media library and what it is?
Yeah. So the media library for me is, I try to think of it like a digital filing cabinet. I hate to be just so blunt about that, but it's like a digital filing cabinet, right? So anything that I want to put in there, I can put in there. So some people think, well, media is just pictures, but it's not. If I want to put a PowerPoint file in there, a PDF in there, if I want to put a Word document in there, I can. And then some of those file types, you actually need an additional third-party plugin to be able to display that material in the website. That's probably a different conversation. But the thing is that you can load just about any file type into the media library, and then you can use that library to share that information with the users in your website. And so in a lot of cases, like I said, maybe you want a third-party plugin that's maybe going to display a document or a preview of a document inside your lesson page or course page. But realistically, what I normally do is I'll create a link or a button with a link that links to that file. So you're in there now, aren't you, Will? Didn't you just go in there and do a screen share on me?
Yeah, this is like a guy in the VR picture in the media library.
That's like a guy. It's like a guy. But if you look at the pages that he's sharing, there's a URL in those that you can just copy, and it's right down there. And so you just take that URL out and you link that URL either to a link or to a button or to an image that you want to click on and pull up that asset. But it's a way that you can share stuff directly through the website. And I use that quite a bit. With an LMS, it's like super valuable, because maybe you have a lesson and you want to share, a fillable PDF with somebody. Maybe you want someone to download a white paper or some kind of information offline that they can study. Maybe you have an ebook that you want to share with somebody. So you could put an e-publication into that media bin, and then you could link that for your users so they can download that and have that as a resource outside of the course or lesson that you're showing.
Yeah, for sure. Those downloadable assets are super valuable and people love it. It feels like a value add because it feels like you're getting something when you have that downloadable privilege to like get kind of an asset you can walk away with. There's different markets for courses and different users who want different things, but the if you're doing like a continuing education course, having downloadable PDFs might not be a value add for your customers. But if you're doing like optional courses or like a cooking course, maybe there's like a recipe download and people can download these recipe PDFs and print them out. Like that, you can kind of add these extra layers. Like LifterLMS doesn't have that as like a feature where it's like, hey, the cookbook downloadable add-on or whatever. It's not really a thing, but you can make that kind of happen with just PDFs and LifterLMS out of the box. But because there's so many use cases for it, we don't really highlight a lot of them specifically.
Well, and I think about, how addicted I've become to my Remarkable 2 tablet, Will. If I was giving a course to people that were using a Remarkable 2 tablet, I would literally create a workbook as a fillable PDF, let people download that and sync it to their tablet, and then they could write in it, just like they're writing in a paper workbook, and they could export it and send it back to me as the instructor, filled in.
Yeah. Like with LifterLMS assignments or advanced quizzes, you can have students upload PDFs and stuff back to the website. We did have a question for students only. So the dashboard for students only. So yeah, the LifterLMS default setup is that students do not go to the back end of WordPress. They stay on the front end of WordPress. They stay over on the dashboard page. Is this the dashboard? Yep. This is how students will access their courses, their memberships, their certificates, and all the assets that they have right here in the dashboard. And if you are using LifterLMS Social Learning, which maybe in a university you are, maybe you're not. I guess one of the benefits in the modern age of going to university is the social aspects. So LifterLMS Social Learning might be a wonderful use case there, because with Lifter Social Learning, you can have my profile where each user has their own timeline, their own bio, their own social link. So it's a good way for people on your website, in this case, college students, to kind of connect with each other as they're taking courses, similar courses. And I think that's cool. Like, I mean, in college, like a lot of the e-learning components are relatively isolated nowadays, where like you get the workbook, you do the assignment, you're doing the quiz, you're doing it all on your own. So I think a social learning experience for college would be really cool.
Yeah, and then I just want to point out, because I have a strange, suspicious feeling that Johanner is talking about a custom dashboard. And without getting too technical on this beginner's call, it is possible to make your own custom dashboard and then use some of our short codes to populate some of the information you want. For instance, I have a client that uses Power BI that connects to another database and gives them like a really cool dashboard with graphics and pie charts and all kinds of junk on their dashboard. But then at the bottom, the short code for my courses pops up, and that's how their users can get to the courses they're already enrolled in without seeing the whole LifterLMS dashboard. They're using a custom dashboard. So there are options out there if that's something that you're looking to build, Johanner.
Oh yeah, custom dashboards. You can go real far with that. Let me remove my screen. The website is only front to describe the degrees as they register, which will give them access to the dashboard. Dashboard will show the class they enrolled in, and they'll have the option to enroll per class. Yeah, that's absolutely sounds like a great setup for Lifter, where you can have your course catalog on the front end. You can have sales pages, descriptions, all that kind of stuff, and then the music playing in the background. Yeah, so then you have all of the components from what you described there are in LifterLMS built in. So that's all there for you. And then we had another question from Randy in chat. SureCart, does it integrate with LifterLMS? It does. That's funny. One of my videos shows up, but yeah. So I remember SureCart developed the integration, so I'm on Google here trying to figure out how it works exactly. But SureCart does have an integration with LifterLMS where you can trigger an enrollment in Lifter based on an event in SureCart, like a purchase. I remember Adam Prizer asking me about that at a WordCamp. So Adam, he might be there. I don't know if he's going to Phoenix, but maybe it's one of the bigger WordCamps. But yeah, LifterLMS integrates nicely with SureCart, SureTriggers, and that product line. The people at Astra and Adam Prizer are big in the LifterLMS community for sure. We had a question. Here we go. If I'm not using the SkyPilot theme, but I'm using another theme, how do I link the menu to a page displaying all the course options? How do I link the menu to a page displaying all the course options? Well, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kurt. Were you going to say something?
I read that question, and to me, it delves into the confusion that is the new changing a menu thing. So is it full site editing menu issues where people think they changed the menu in appearance menus and then they don't see it and then they're confused, or because they really just need to know how to put my courses in the navigation menu.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different ways to do that. We probably just need to screen share through that.
Yeah. So if I'm not using SkyPilot, so LifterLMS SkyPilot is a full site editing theme. So I'll show you how you can add to the menu in that theme in a second. But here I'll switch over to Astra. It'll work the same way Astra Cadence. What you do is you go to Appearance Menus in Astra, and then you build out your menu, with the traditional WordPress menu editing area. And then Astra has these options for display location. And then when you're in the customizer is really where my site probably doesn't look good right now because I just switched the theme, so it probably looks a little bit of a mess, but we'll see here in a second as this loads. There it goes. Yep, it's a mess. So, but this is kind of what happens when you switch themes on a live website. But here's my menu up here at the top. And so if I go to my, I don't know in Astra how to do this, probably header builder, primary menu. Okay. Yep. So then you can configure your menu. You can configure your menu right from here. You can configure the design, select which menu you want to be your primary menu. So this is kind of the way to do it from 2014 to like 2022 is like this is kind of the standard way to do it. Is each theme has relatively the same setup, but they all have a little bit different settings that are located in the customizer. But then the modern themes that are coming out, and I mean I'm not saying Astra and Cadence are modern, but I'm talking about the new, the Skypilot, the
Block themes.
full site editing themes, the block themes. Yeah. So if I activate one of those block themes like 2024 or Skypilot, um, I'll activate Lifter Skypilot. Instead of spending a lot of time in our menu area here and then going into the customizer, what we would do is we could create a menu over here, but we could also launch straight into the editor. If I go to Appearance Editor, and then this is like a whole new experience. You've got navigation as one of these items, and this is where you can build out little navigation menus. You can pull in the menus that you've already created. And so if I want to mess with this one, I think which menus is About Us, Courses. I got to figure out. Yep, this is it. So if I want to change this menu, the main navigation I have on my website, I'll just edit this one. And we have videos on this on the LifterLMS YouTube channel as well, because this is new technology that's changing a lot. So over here on the right, I have the option to add some more menu items. I could also open up the list view up here at the top and look at the navigation block. But you can see, like Kurt said, block theme. So all these themes are starting to convert over to using the WordPress blocks to manage the header, the footer, the sidebar, everything is blocks. So the navigation is a block that you can now work with. So instead of menus, we just call them navigation blocks, and that's going to abstractly expand to more things. It's not just going to be like a menu, it's also ways to navigate the website. But for now, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, I think it kind of confuses people, Will, because if you're not using a new block full site editing capable theme, you're not going to see edit site at the top of your you're not going to see edit site at the top of your website if you're on your homepage. And so that's the sign that you need to go into appearance and menu and make those changes, or make changes through the customizer. But if you see edit site and you're in a full site editing theme, then you need to use the site editor that you just showed us and edit that in right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a big transition going on. It's interesting to see the interoperability. It's very shocking and jarring to have this new editing interface. Even like, I work in WordPress every day and open this editor like multiple times a day, and it's still just kind of awkward to navigate for me. But as I learn more about it and figure out what it's about, what it's doing, and turning everything into blocks in the long run makes it easier. Because if you're, imagine if we're in the year 2025 and you build a website, and then in the year 2028 you want to switch your theme, you no longer have to rebuild your entire site from scratch, because in 2025 you would have built your website using a block editing theme. So your header is blocks, your footer is blocks. So then in 2028, when you want to switch your theme to a new theme, you don't have to rebuild your header, you don't have to rebuild your footer. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. But like you saw when I switched from Skypilot to Astra, my menu was just completely different. And so now I got to go rebuild, restyle everything if I'm going to switch themes. So this is like in the long run making it so switching themes becomes really easy. But in the short term, it's hard because you have to learn a new editing style for WordPress. But I'm excited to see where it goes. So that's how you can change a theme in Skypilot or outside of Skypilot. Then we had this one on a full site video we have on our LifterLMS YouTube channel, an Astra full site build. The comment was, Sister Nadia, I would like to see the student dashboard. Nadia made a great tutorial there. If you Google Astra full site build LifterLMS, you'll find that. I hate it. It looks like I'm like looking down because I'm like looking at the comment, but my phone is up there. Let me show this question. I want to see the student dashboard when using Astra in LifterLMS. So I'm going to switch my theme over to Astra on my demo site. And Astra has some inbuilt styling or built-in styling for the LifterLMS student dashboard. Ignore my homepage. So this is what it looks like just out of the box. I activated Astra, but then if I open up my customizer, a lot of these settings for LifterLMS are in the customizer. see. So if I load up my customizer, it's going to take a second. I should have some LifterLMS options.
Boom.
Oh, there it is. Right over it. So Astra has some specific, it knows whether you're using LifterLMS or not. So it offers you some options for what your LifterLMS pages look like, some styling for courses and lessons, and then also some styling for the dashboard. I think you have to be using Astra Pro in order to get their customizing options for the dashboard, where you can put all these items right here at the top. They can go on the right hand side. If you want to do like a vertically stacked layout, you could do that. So that's an Astra Pro feature, I think, with LifterLMS. But the dashboard is pretty similar to what LifterLMS looks like out of the box. You just have a few more styling options until you go to Astra Pro, and then you get a few more options even from there.
And not for nothing, Astra Pro with the Spectra add-on, which is from the same company, really seems to put, block editing on steroids. It works really well.
Yeah, Spectra is one of those plugins you can add to your website if you are using the block editor and you're feeling limited, like you can't build sliders, you can't do the what else do they have? They have sliders, they have testimonial blocks, they have all kinds of things that are not included in the WordPress core right now. They have more advanced padding and margin and all this stuff. So if you're feeling limited by the block editor, I'd recommend trying out Cadence Blocks or Astra's Spectra plugin, because those two free plugins add a lot of functionality to the block editor that really take it to the next level. I gotta plug in my phone because it's at 20%.
Ruh-roh.
Let's see.
I can take the next question, I suppose.
Okay.
Question about LifterLMS groups. Says, can you tell me, is it possible to create a group in LifterLMS groups? It says only manually by the site administrator, or is there automatic group creation? Is it possible to create a group by a corporate client who buys a subscription to group training? At this stage of the game, out of the box, there's no automation for that purpose. What Groups does is it allows you to sell a certain number of seats, whatever that number is, right? So it could be, because there's so many variables and because this is so flexible, this is the way it has to work. So let's say you sell somebody 50 seats to a course that you've created. You sell them those 50 seats. They pay you for those 50 seats. And then you assign them manually a group inside LifterLMS groups with 51 seats in it, because it's the one that is the group leader and then the 50 seats that they bought, right? And so you sell them that 51 seats, and then they use the group to invite their students to that group. It works really, really, really well for different schools or associations or things like that, because when they manage their own students and they invite their own students to their own group, they also get access to front-end reporting, so they can see the status, the progress, and the scores that each of their students are generating through your platform, which means you're not spending your time every week generating custom reports for your clients. They're able to get the information themselves right through the front end of the website. So Groups is a really, really powerful tool, but it's not something that's automated through the purchase process at this stage of the game. That may change in the future, but for now, it is a manual process.
Yeah. And if you are a tech-savvy user, a PHP developer, you know how to use an API, you can create a group using the LifterLMS REST API. So there is some options there. If you're just sticking with the WordPress interface out of the box and you're like a WordPress power user, this might not be an option, but this is an option if you are a developer who knows how to use an API to build your own plugin that could have a button that says create a new group or something from the front end of the website, and then it just registers via the API to create a group with the data passed from your plugin. So there is some options there if you're more technically inclined. We had a question: is each course separated by modules, like a subcourse? Is that knows how to trickle down? Course separated by modules of little bits, like a subcourse. So I thought
trickle down was trickle down economics from the 80s with President Reagan.
Yeah. I think it might be related to the drip settings, maybe.
I think they're talking about just having the sections in the courses. So in the courses we have modules, because I have a lot of clients that refer to lessons as modules, right? So if you're referring to a lesson as a module, the section is what separates the lessons into kind of like different compartments, but there's no content in a section. It's just a title in the syllabus. It's not a it doesn't hold any content. There's no videos. There's nothing to edit or style in that. It's just a word-based separator for the different types of lessons within a course.
Yeah, I'm switch on my SkyPilot theme again, because this demo site was built on SkyPilot, so it looks a little bit better.
SkyPilot active. Yep, and this shows you the sections right there. Getting started is a section, create your course is a section, and then the modules or the lessons are the actionable items inside those sections.
Yeah. Yep, so sections don't have a page associated with them. You can't really view a section. It's just kind of an organization for your structure. Is that known as a trickle down? And so you can, with drip settings in LifterLMS on your course builder, if I go back to the course builder, you can say on each lesson, you can opt to add prerequisites. If you want to require completing lesson 1 before moving to lesson 2, you could do that. You could also do drip method, where this lesson only becomes available on a specific date. You could do it where, let me zoom out a little bit, where it becomes available number of days after enrollment. So you have to wait 2 days after enrollment before accessing this lesson. Or you could even do number of days after prerequisite completion. So you complete lesson 1, then you have to wait 1 day before moving to lesson 2. All kinds of setups you could do to drip out your course content.
I got to do this real quick, Will.
Oh, yeah.
Buongiorno, sto bene oggi. Tech for Home Kit. Welcome to the show. It's been a while since we've seen you, man. I'm glad you made it back. All right. Absolutely. Now we can get back to Jahanur. He wants to know if you can show a lesson. You're already in a screen share, so
yeah,
pop over and make that magic happen, Mr. Magic Will Middleton.
For sure. So within our course builder here, this is where we add lessons. A new lesson over here on the right. And then once your lesson is added and you hover over your lessons in the course builder, I already have a course built out here, so it's got like 20 lessons or something. And then if I hover over this W WordPress icon, this is a little bit unintuitive because you got to play around with the course builder to figure this out. But you click that little W WordPress icon, and then that will take you to edit the lesson. And you can see on the left sidebar, we're not editing a course, we're editing one of our lesson post types. And this is the Why LifterLMS lesson. And we can build this thing with the block editor. If you're using Elementor, you could build it with Elementor, you could build it with Divi, you could build it with Beaver Builder. You have another page builder, you could activate it there too. Because lessons are just custom post types in WordPress. So anything, a lot of page builders, probably all of them, allow for editing custom post types, so you could launch in. I like to stick with the block editor on lessons and keep it simple and use my page builder for my sales pages. But if you did, I've seen LifterLMS users build every lesson page with a page builder, and it does make a heavier page. It makes a page that is a little slower to load, but then it's prettier. It has more design options. It has all this stuff. You could do motion effects. You go crazy. If you want to put a page builder on a lesson, you could do that. But by default, a lesson is composed of a few parts. Of course, you got the title, just like a regular WordPress post, and the content, but we have our lesson progress button, which is the mark complete. Students will click that thing. And if you have a quiz on your lesson, because in the course builder, you could opt to hover over this little question mark icon and add a quiz. If you were to do that, it would change this button to say take quiz automatically. So you always want to have this mark complete button on your lesson. Very rarely would you want to remove this, but you want to leave that one there. And then also lesson navigation is nice because it allows you to go from one lesson to the next. And if I view my lesson, we can see what's put together here. So I've got my video, which was embedded in the course builder. If I click my settings, we got this video YouTube embed, which is what's showing all the way at the top there. Then I've got a paragraph block. I've got my mark complete block. I've got some extra block that was put together to, this is just some WordPress thing that Chris put together with a few resources. And then the navigation. So the navigations, random content, mark complete, random content video. That's kind of the breakdown of this lesson in Lifter. And if you were to activate a page builder, you could absolutely go nuts with just designing this page however you want to. But if you do use a page builder to design a lesson, I want to highlight you do need to use LifterLMS shortcodes at that point to make sure you get your navigation button on there, because like the navigation button is, or not navigation, the mark complete button is really necessary in order for students to be able to click that button, check the box that they completed. So there's a picture of me from years ago. We've got
there's a picture of me from years ago.
I did have long hair in that photo. People are like, oh, you didn't have long hair. It's like it was in a ponytail in that picture behind the hat. But the what's the one I'm looking for? It's mark complete. There it is, lesson mark complete button number 18. So if I click that, this one, you're going to put this shortcode. If you use Elementor, if you use Divi or Beaver Builder, you want to make sure to put this shortcode because you're not in the block editor anymore. So you want to drop that thing in your page to get that button to show up. I think navigation, I don't know. I don't think navigation is actually on here. Yeah, it's not. It's one of the missing shortcodes. So if you wanted navigation and you are in a page builder, you might need to copy the block style and see if that works, or find like some kind of creative solution with tangible lifter elements or something like that. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but shortcodes. If you're using a page builder, these things become really important for you. That was maybe a little bit of an in-depth view, but a little breakdown of how lessons work in Lifter. I don't think we've really highlighted that before.
No, and you know what's so weird, dude, is like we do this a lot, and then sometimes we come across something we haven't talked about yet, and it's like, really? We haven't talked about that yet? That's odd.
Yeah, because me and Kurt are here every week, so we we're always like coming up with new topics to talk about, rehashing old topics. But any questions you have, we'd be happy to dive into. Other ideas? I'm writing some comments back to questions we answered on YouTube, but I can also show the quiz section. Let me finish this comment real quick. Let's see ideas for videos we'd be happy to make. All right, boom. Okay, back over to StreamYard, pull up my screen, back to the course builder. So if we want to put a quiz on a lesson in the LifterLMS plugin, go back to the course builder. So if I'll navigate back over here because it can be a little bit confusing. So from the WordPress admin area, we go to courses on the sidebar, and then each of these courses has an option for builder and edit. Edit is like the cover page of your course that has the instructor information, the pricing, and all that. But the builder is where we actually build our lessons, this thing right here. And so if I hover over the question mark icon on any of my lessons, you can see when there is a quiz present, it's going to become this dark blue, but when there's not, it's this light gray color. So if I want to put a quiz here, I'm going to click the question mark. I'm going to click create new quiz. And I have a few options. I always check the publish box up there immediately because I always forget to do that. But then we can add a description for our quiz. We can add a required passing percentage. You need to get 75% to pass the quiz. We can limit to say you only have 5 tries if you want to do this quiz. If you wanted to do that, you have that option. You could set a time limit of 10 minutes so that people aren't going on their phone and looking up the answers. They got to be kind of quick with it. You could set a time limit. Got to be quick. You gotta get through the quiz fast. I mean, you could even push it and go 1 minute and be like, if you know the information, you know it. If you don't, you don't. Show correct answers is an option. So if at the end of the quiz you could show the students what the correct answers are if you wanted to. You could also randomize the question order and use question banks. If you're using LifterLMS advanced quizzes, I'll talk about that in a minute, but there are some good options for that. Let me collapse the general settings. When I click add question over there at the bottom right, in the free plugin, free LifterLMS plugin, you have 3 options: multiple choice, picture choice, true, false. But then LifterLMS also has an add-on called LifterLMS Advanced Quizzes. That's available in the highest package, the Infinity Bundle, but also is an individual add-on if you just wanted that add-on by itself. But yeah, this adds a lot more question options. So, drag and drop questions, long answer paragraphs, and all this stuff. And you could have like all kinds of stuff going on with Lifter Advanced Quizzes. If you wanted to have people submit essays, fill in the blank, submit code. If you're doing a course about coding, you could give them a little code editor. But sticking to the free plugin, we've got a multiple choice, picture choice, true, false. We can add more questions. We say like, what color is the sky? You got This will be
Color is
blue,
the sky.
green, red, pink, and it could be any of these colors actually. So we'll just add a fifth option. Could be any of them, depending on the light and time of day. All right, there we go. So this is the correct answer. We'll put the E, and this would be like, I don't know, I'm colorblind. But we can select the correct answer, and also you could do multiple correct answers if you wanted to. If you had to select two of these colors, for example, like you could say, what color could the sky be, and you make them select all. So you'd get the question wrong if you didn't select all four, basically, is what I have set up right now. Or we could do just a single correct answer. We can add a description to the question if it's a little bit confusing. This is a simple question, so it's we could also just say select all that apply, because if I were to do this multiple correct choices, if we were to do something like that, I might want to add a description. I could also add an image if I wanted to put a picture of the sky to demonstrate what I'm talking about. I could also embed a video. So this is a little more intense. This question is very simple, but if you have a complex course about like medical or continuing education, you might have a little more information you want to provide about like, how do you perform, surgery on a patient, or know when a patient is, going into cardiac arrest or something. And it's like there's a little bit more context to that question. You might want to put an image or a video or something like that on there. Or if you're doing complex math equations, you could take a screenshot of a complex math equation and put it right here in your image. And then in that case, if you were doing a complex math equation, you probably want to do picture choice question type, because here's where you could select multiple pictures from your media library and say, which one of these pictures is a dog? These pics is a dog. And so this is kind of a cool way where we could have images, and they have to select the right image. And I'll just do this. And of course, you'd be a little more methodical in your questions. I'm just kind of going off the cuff here. So this is the one that's a picture of a dog. So I'm going to select that as the correct answer. And then save changes. And let's take a look at the front end of what this looks like. Let me give it a second to reload and resave for me. I can also do points per question. So if I wanted this question to be worth 4 points, because it's more important that they know this answer than it is that they know this one, I want to give 4 points to that question. So that'll be worth 4 points. And then I'll view my quiz by viewing my lesson. And then, like I mentioned, the mark complete button is going to change automatically, and it's going to say take quiz because I created a quiz on here. This is where I have my general quiz information. It looks pretty blank right now because I didn't fill out my general information. What you need to know before going in. ... Give it a second to save. It takes every like 15 seconds or so, this little save button will turn blue, and then it'll allow you to save changes, or it'll do it automatically. But you could fill this thing out. You could put a picture on here. You could put a description. You could have a quote that says, hey, thanks, great job making it this far. Go ahead and start the quiz. And then we load into the quiz system. Oh, I put a minute time limit on this. Yeah. So there's that minute time limit going off. So I got to check all these boxes to get that one right. And then which picture is a dog? That one. Then complete quiz. All right. I made it in under a minute, and I passed the quiz. Very good. And so I can see here, and this is going to look a little bit different depending on what theme you're using. So if I were to switch themes real quick and I go to Appearance Themes, each theme will have different styling. LifterLMS has some default styles built in. If you're using a theme that's not Cadence, not Astra, not SkyPilot, LifterLMS has some fallback styles. But Astra styles the quiz to look like this. And then if I go to Cadence, Cadence is going to style the quiz to look a little bit different. Reload, I think, right? Yeah, it looks a little bit different. So they all have like some different styling built on top of the default Lifter styles. But then I'm going to switch back to SkyPilot. Reload. So you can really customize the look of this. And if you're an expert at CSS, or you're comfortable getting into the editor, if you wanted to change this color of green, for example, you could probably do that if I wanted to change this to be like a purple. I got the wrong thing. But you could dive into the inspector and really customize what your CSS looks like here. So if you save that, put it in your customizer, put it in your child theme, you can customize a lot of what this page looks like with CSS. That's an in-depth view of the LifterLMS quiz system. There were some questions that came in. Will we have some questions and request an essay? Oh, yeah. We will have some. Yeah, so if you're doing essay question types, you can absolutely do that. So that would be LifterLMS advanced quizzes. And what we would do is not these. We would do essay question, or I did short answer. I want to do long answer. So an essay would be like a long answer question type. Enter your essay about ... more description of what you should have in your essay. That'll be that. And then we could do minimum word count if I wanted to enforce a minimum word count for that. And PDF. Oh, PDF answer. So PDF would be the upload question type, right? So that would be add question, file upload. Upload the PDF you downloaded earlier. The PDF you downloaded earlier. So then we'll save that. I'm going to try to take my quiz again. And the challenge here is that you have to manually grade the PDF upload, for example. So if I go to take quiz, start quiz, get through these questions, this one. So here's the long answer. This is my essay, ... Next question. So then I can drag and drop a file upload. And what this is going to do is it's going to notify the instructor of the course, and they'll have to manually grade it because they're going to have to look at the PDF. They're going to have to read the essay and assign points based on, what they think about it. If it was a good essay or not, they'll have to give a certain amount of points. And good question. Which theme works best with LifterLMS? If you're thinking about advanced quizzes and thinking about the social learning add-on, it sounds like you might already be going for the Infinity Bundle. Maybe not, but I recommend SkyPilot. If you're already going for the Universe or Infinity Bundle from Lifter, I would just use SkyPilot because especially if you're building a site from scratch, full site editing themes are going to be the way WordPress is going. And that's the theme I'm using here on this demo website, LifterLMS SkyPilot. It's included in the Universe and Infinity Bundle at Lifter, but you could also use Cadence, you could also use Astra, you could also use another theme. But I think if you're building a new site from scratch here in 2024, and you're already going for some of those LifterLMS add-ons, you'll probably want to pick up SkyPilot as probably the most seamless experience. I'm going for Infinity Bundle. Yeah, so you'll have SkyPilot included with that. So I think I would go with that. What do you think about that curve? There's a learning curve. That's the challenge.
Well, it's a premium theme and it comes with it. And if you're starting from scratch, the learning curve's part of it. Like it's smooth and easy. And sidebar for folks that are listening and thinking there's a difference here. SkyPilot can still work with a page builder if your heart is set on using a page builder with it instead of the full site editing menu. So sometimes there's a combination of things you need to do, but if there's elements of Elementor that you just have to have, you can still use Elementor with SkyPilot. So don't think that you can't. It's a really good option.
Yeah, and if you're going for the Infinity Bundle, let me put this banner up on screen. Webinar. I thought it was webinar something. No, it's not webinar 15. This one, LifterLMS Live. You can use that for 15% off. LifterLMS-live coupon code if you want to save that one. That's I mean, 15. The Infinity Bundle is like what, like $1,200? So that's like 100 and $200 off or something like that. Yeah. Question from
a good time to make a move.
Oh yeah.
So while you were talking and doing awesome screen shares and being magical, I was answering this question at length on Facebook, but I thought I'd share it here too. It says, how do you get payment from the company? This is talking about using groups again. And it says, do you present the offer and show a sample company and courses? And then they say, great, we'll take 20 seats. And so you calculate the 20 times your monthly yearly membership and bill them separately to the LifterLMS billing system. And I wanted to kind of really address this from a business strategy perspective. I hope that's okay, Will.
Yeah.
Um, this comes up like because earlier we had the question about can you automate billing the group thing, and I try to tell folks like in the world of business, people typically aren't going to say like if your course is $1,000, right, and then someone says, well, we'd like to take 20 seats. They're not assuming they're going to pay you $20,000. They're assuming they're going to pay you $14,000. They're making an assumption that there's some kind of negotiation available based on that volume sale. And most course creators would love to take in $14,000 anyway. So yeah, they're gonna that's the reason why groups is so flexible in that way. So you would say, okay, yeah, it's $14,000, right? So now the next question is, how do you get the $14,000? And so a couple of people jumped into this question in Facebook and said, well, maybe you make a custom access plan, which you could do. But remember, access plans, you can only have 6 at a time, with 6 for each course or 6 for each membership. So you could create a custom membership, a custom access plan, have them pay it, and then create their group, assign them their group, and then assign them their seats. You could do that. But I want to throw this out there. LifterLMS straight out of the box comes with the manual payment gateway, and you can do a bank transfer. And so most bank transfers cost $25. Would you rather pay $25 to get $14,000 in your bank account, or would you rather pay Stripe 3% of $14,000 and then a fee to transfer the money into your bank account? And so that's the reason why I say groups is so awesome and so flexible, is because based on these different parameters and variables, you're able to be flexible with your customer and you're able to drive your margin by your decision rather than be held captive to some pre-formatted process. Does that make sense, Will?
Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely want to be flexible at those beginning stages. And yeah, I'm moving more towards bank transfer, Venmo, I don't know, other ways where I can get around paying a 3% fee. Because I mean, 3% is not that big of a problem. Like if you're trying to process payments in bulk and make it easy for your users, paying PayPal or Stripe 3% is like whatever. It's not a huge deal. But if you're doing big deal sizes and you're doing like $200, $500, $1,000 deal sizes, you might want to consider. You'll probably already be talking to your customers manually anyway once you're at that $1,000 per seat deal size. So like you're already in that conversation, emailing them directly. You might as well accept the payment directly and not pay 3%. But if you don't talk to your customers, if you have like automated stuff going on, automated PDF, automated sales page link, all this kind of stuff, then it's like, why not automate the checkout and pay Stripe 3% to just handle it and have the money come to your bank account and never have to know have that pre-sales conversation. But if you are having manual pre-sales conversations, you don't want to pay that 3%. That's a good insight.
Well, dude, 3% of $14,000 is $420.
Yeah.
Would I want to pay $420 or would I want to pay $25? And so for me, I mean, like you said, if you're already in the sales process and you're already strategizing with people on group learning at scale, that dollar amount can climb up there pretty quickly. And not for nothing, I mean, my last couple of deals through Stripe have been, $8,000, $10,000, and $12,000, and it's just a heartbreaker for me to watch $600 just go to the ether. But as a business, you gotta have to factor that expense into doing business.
Yeah, for sure. I'm finding a link about how to edit stack tabs. Yeah.
Well, don't spend too much time on it. We only have 2.5 minutes left here, pal.
Boom. Yeah, we only have 2.5 minutes left. I just got that comment answered. But the anyone who has any questions in chat before we close out the call, feel free to drop those questions in, and we'll just be kind of closing down. I'm closing my tabs.
Dude, I'm going to ask you something with 2 minutes left.
Yep.
What was your what's your favorite move Lifter LMS made for 2023? I mean, this is the last one we're doing of the year.
Yeah. Favorite move Lifter LMS did 2023. So I like cohorts. I designed the cohorts product idea. Our developer Lee built it, but I like cohorts. But that's because I'm biased. I'm trying to think of like other things Lifter's done. Jason and Kim came into the company the end of last year, like in January, or not January, December of like 2022. So it's like, I don't know if that
Yeah.
counts as a win for 2023, but it's been a good win for 2023. I'd say it's either got to be the cohorts add-on or Skypilot. Maybe Skypilot. Kim did a wonderful job on Skypilot. Kim, owner of Lifter LMS, did a just a wonderful job on that. Like that whole Skypilot theme I was sharing on screen is like designed by her. She did the CSS. She redid the academy with that. Like that's huge. You know what? I'm gonna say Skypilot. I'm thinking out loud. Skypilot is probably my favorite win for Lifter LMS, because the old theme Lifter LMS had, the Launchpad theme, I love it because it was around since 2014, before Astra supported Lifter, before Cadence supported Lifter. The theme that if you wanted a Lifter LMS theme, you got to use Launchpad. Now a bunch of big themes support Lifter LMS, but in 2023 we had the Skypilot come out, and that is like the future theme for WordPress, future theme for Lifter. So I'd say that's it. But what about you?
On a personal note, it was Lifter taking me to the WordCamps or sending me to WordCamps, because I went to the one in Phoenix too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my personal note one. But yeah, I'm gonna say for me it was cohorts. I really like the way, because there was some pre-existing tech in there that they just kind of reformatted a little bit, and but it presents really, really well. Like to my customers that do the cohort scenario, it doesn't leave things out. You know what I mean? Because it was too easy to screw things up in the past, trying to like do your own checklist and figure out the process. Now the process is figured out. You just click make a cohort, and then the wizard takes you through. Did you want to do this? Did you want to do that? Did you want to do the other? Did you want? Yep. Done. And it just makes it well, you know what? It keeps me from getting stupid support tickets. That's what it does.
Yeah, dude, that's the product mind. I'm excited about that, because it's like we're just reusing old technology in order to make the experience more seamless. But that's fundamentally what we're all about, is making the process more seamless. So
yeah, I thought for sure you were going to grab onto third-party stuff like the transfer thing we did with James.
I mean, there's so many good things from 2023. I think Chris did a blog post on it, Transfer. If you haven't seen the Transfer webinar, there's a new way to transfer your courses from LearnDash to Lifter. Maybe you could go the other way too. But there's also other LMSs that they're planning to introduce to this transfer product. They're planning on redoing the UX in 2024. So like it'll be easier to be like, I'm on one LMS, I want to go to the other LMS, and then I want to move this around, I want to move that around. Like that's been a really impossible task. It's been copy and paste for the last so many years. But now this transfer company, or it's Honors WP, has built a product called Transfer that does this process beautifully. So check that webinar we did out. It's just Transfer Lifter LMS. You'll find that webinar. But Will Middleton, Kurt Von Onen, signing out for Lifter LMS from the week. We will see you all again live in the new year.
Ciao, ciao.